Welcome to the Can Wine Podcast, where we open cans of wine and talk about it. And we've been doing lots of that lately. This is Season 3, Episode 18, or our 89th episode since we started opening cans of wine and talking about it. Our wine nerd word of the week. Before we do that, this season we promised you the world in a can, and we're not backing down on that. And today we continue on the west coast of the Americas, but we go way south to Chile, to be exact, where they have, in case you weren't aware, they have great conditions for growing wine. So our wine nerd word of the week is brut. And this is a dry style of sparkling wine, specifically champagne. So you hear these referred to as brut. And that's our wine nerd word of the week. And our can of the week is the Rita Sparkling 250 milliliter white, 12% alcohol. It's a very stylish gold and geometrically styled can. A nice looking can. This particular one had a lot of warning labels and stuff on it because it was imported for the competition. And the winemaker, Jamie De La Barra, is the chairman of winemaking, or maybe the manager of winemaking at Vina St. Rita, which is a very large winemaking operation in Chile. And they do a good job of it, from what I hear. So they're located in the Maipo Valley in Chile. And in 1880, Don Domingo Fernandez Conche, that's a handle. He was a pioneer in wine technology and products. He really brought a lot of great information and a lot of great wine varieties to the Maipo Valley and started making wine back in the 1880s. So they've been around for a while. Now this particular wine was a gold medal winner. This is one of the gold medal winner wines from the 2024 International Canned Wine Competition in Mendocino County, California, and it was in the sparkling white category. So there's some proof that it's probably going to be tasting great. And how do they do that? Well, this is what the French call a blanc de blanc. It's made with 100% Chardonnay grapes. And the Chardonnay grapes are a green-skinned grape originally from the Burgundy wine region of France. And it is grown now in most of the wine-producing areas in the world. It's a very vigorous growing wine. There's a lot known about it, so it's people are very good at growing it. And it is a very crisp. The grape juice is a very crisp and high acidity are the two signatures of that. Now, commonly, Chardonnay grapes will undergo malolactic fermentation, which is a bacterial fermentation after the initial fungal fermentation with yeast, and it gives it a buttery taste, as well as sometimes they'll be aged in oak. I don't know if this one was aged in oak or not, but we'll find that out when we open it. So, without any further ado, let's do what we do here on the Can Wine Podcast, which is open this wine, because we've already started talking about it. Very Chardonnay taste. smell. Lots of fruitiness. Cheers. Happy New Year. Yeah, that's nice color, very golden looking. Lots of sparkles because it is a fermented wine. This is produced using the Charmat method, which is the champagne style of production. So it probably is carbonated in the cans because that's sort of what you have to do when you're doing it in a can. But it looks great. Green plum, apple, pear, yep, white fruits. I would give it that. And what would you pair this with? Well, I think you'd want to pair it with some festivities, which is why we're opening it here on New Year's Eve in New York. And I can't say that I'll be sipping on this while the ball drops, but I might be. I've got a bit of a cold, so I might actually be having a snooze by that time. But our shout out is, as always, to our Spotify listeners. Join us on YouTube, and you can see how the lovely color and the sparkling bubbles in this Rita Sparkling gold medal wine. So come over and see us here on YouTube. Not hard to do. And a shout out to, again, Lee from No List Records. We just can't get over our excitement at having dinner with you and you taking back a big supply of canned wine podcast toques, knit caps, hats, the whole thing. Lee carried them across up to Winnipeg, where they're keeping people's heads warm and stylish all at the same time. So, and the people at the International Canned Wine Competition. This is a great wine. We sure appreciate the opportunity to be a contributing sponsor to the podcast, to the competition, as well as opening these wines and getting the good word out to people about that. So much appreciated to getting us this wine. Our head scratcher from last week, Eric Juncker was the artist who decorated the can on the Shake Shack red wine, and it was very nice artwork. So that was the artist, Eric Juncker. And this week's head scratcher, you've all been waiting for it. In what year did Domingo Fernando Conche start making wine in the Maipo Valley in Chile? So if you want to go back and listen to that, or we'll bring it to you next week when we update the head scratchers there. And in closing, we'd like to thank you all for tuning into the Canned Wine Podcast, where we open cans of wine and talk about it. Remember, as always, enjoy responsibly. And just because it comes in a can doesn't mean you can drink and drive, especially during the holidays. But you should make that your motto year-round. Go home, enjoy your wine there. The Canned Wine Podcast is a Center Stage production. All rights reserved.